Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So here we are again, and it's turning out to be our favorite place. You can hear the seagulls, but we're not near the sea. We're in sunny Watford.
Watford High Street. Glamorous.
And it's chaos out here. Bank holiday. What day is it? It's first Boxing Day.
I know, it's like people being locked in their homes or something for 24 hours. It's crazy. Everyone's in the shops. You should see the Tesco car park. Like they haven't had food for 24 hours. Having said that, we're also going to go to Tesco after this. Alright, it's Canto 4, Chapter 11, Text 18.
And what's the chapter entitled?
Swayam Bhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj.
Alright. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 18. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by His inconceivable supreme energy, time, causes the interaction of the modes of material nature, and thus varieties of energy become manifest. It appears that He is acting, but He is not the actor. He is killing, but He is not the killer. Thus it is understood that only by His inconceivable power is everything possible. Purport. The word Durvi Bhavya means inconceivable by our tiny brain, and Vibhakta Virya means divided in varieties of potencies. This is the right explanation of the display of creative energies in the material world. We can better understand the mercy of God by an example. A government state is always supposed to be merciful, but sometimes in order to keep law and order, the government employs its police force, and thus punishment is meted out to rebellious citizens. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always merciful and full of transcendental qualities, but certain individual souls have forgotten their relationship with Krishna and have endeavored to lord it over material nature. As a result of the endeavour, they are involved in varieties of material interaction. It is incorrect to argue, however, that because energy issues from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He is the actor. In the previous verse, the word nimitta matra indicates that the Supreme Lord is completely aloof from the action and reaction of this material world. How is everything being done? The word inconceivable has been used. It is not within the power of one's small brain to comprehend unless one accepts the inconceivable power and energy of the Lord. One cannot make any progress. The forces which act are certainly set up by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but He is always aloof from the action and reaction. The varieties of energies produced by the interaction of material nature produce a variety of species of life and the resultant happiness and unhappiness. It's so funny, wherever we sit, people come. We try to sit in a place that is like, where there's no humans, and we just read on that. You see, wherever we are, you watch in a minute, there's going to be like 1 million people here. But anyway. Okay, so what stood out for me here is, like in the verse it says, it appears that He is acting, but He is not the actor. He is killing, but He's not the killer. So it's like a Chintya Beda Beda Tapra, no? It's like, on the one hand, yes, in terms of what we're reading, okay, some calamity, some challenge, some issue is there, and you have to see the hand of Krishna and the lesson learned, but at the same time, this one I'm understanding, the point being made is that Krishna didn't personally kill your brother.
Krishna didn't what?
Personally kill his brother.
Yeah.
But at the same time...
Previously you said He did.
But yes, because that's the point I'm trying to say, Chintya Beda Beda, that at the same time, it's Krishna's will, or, what is it that Krishna's trying to achieve or teach you? It is like, he didn't pull the trigger, But he didn't shoot the sheriff. But, hold on.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't actually ever say that it was Krishna. He says it was the illusory material energy of the Supreme Lord, like that.
Right.
Which one was it? 18, right?
Yeah.
How the Lord acts is nicely explained in the Vishnu Purana. Fire is situated in one place, while the heat and light produced by the fire act in many different ways. Another example given is that the electric powerhouse is situated in one place, but by its energies many different types of machinery move. The production is never identical with the original source of the energy, but the original source of energy, being the prime factor, is simultaneously one with and different from the product. Interesting. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya's philosophy, Achintya, Bheda, Abheda, Tattva, is the perfect way of understanding. In this material world, the Lord incarnates in three forms, as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, by which he takes charge of the three modes of material nature. By his incarnation of Brahma, he creates. As the incarnation of Vishnu, he maintains, and by his incarnation of Shiva, he also annihilates. But the original source of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, is always apart from these actions and reactions of material nature. So, yeah, interesting. So I really like this example of the powerhouse and how it produces energy, but the energy the powerhouse produces is running many different machines. Just like here, if you look around, there are probably so many different things that the powerhouse is fueling and different things are running, but they're not identical to the powerhouse, none of them. In fact, they don't even resemble the powerhouse. In fact, the powerhouse is imperceivable. Yet, the powerhouse is the source, the potent source that is fueling and running everything. So, in one sense, they're simultaneously one and different. It says the original source of energy, being the prime factor, is simultaneously one and different. So it's quite, I think it's a really nice analogy for the Achintya, Bheda, Veda, Tattva, philosophy or perspective. I don't remember ever hearing that. I remember hearing that, of course, the energy of coming from the Lord can be transformed into many different types, like the powerhouse, but not quite in that way. It's very nice. I like it.
Right, text 19. My dear Dhruva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is ever existing, but in the form of time. He is the killer of everything. He has no beginning. Although he is the beginning of everything, nor is he ever exhaustible, although everything is exhausted in due course of time. The living entities are created through the agency of the Father and killed through the agency of death. But he is perpetually free of death and death. Purport. The supreme authority and inconceivable power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be minutely studied from this verse. He is always unlimited. That means he has no creation or end. He is, however, death in the form of time. As described in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am death. I take away everything at the end of life. Eternal time is also without beginning. But it is the creator of all creatures. The example is given of touchstone, which creates many valuable stones and jewels, but does not decrease in power. Similarly, creation occurs many times. Everything is maintained, and after a time, everything is annihilated. But the original creator, the Supreme Lord, remains untouched and undiminished in power. The secondary creation is made by Brahma, but Brahma is created by the Supreme Godhead. Lord Shiva annihilates the whole creation, but at the end he is also annihilated by Vishnu. Lord Vishnu remains. In the Vedic hymns it is stated that in the beginning there is only Vishnu and that he alone remains at the end. Or what Nafis to say?
Okay. Why?
Just, I don't want to say something for the sake of saying it.
Alright, so next paragraph. An example can help us to understand the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Lord. In the recent history of warfare, the Supreme Personality of Godhead created a Hitler, and before that a Napoleon Bonaparte. And they each killed many living entities in war. But in the end, Bonaparte and Hitler were also killed. People are still very much interested in writing and reading books about Hitler and Bonaparte and how they killed so many people in war. Year after year, many books are published for public reading regarding Hitler's killing thousands of Jews in confinement. But no one is researching who killed Hitler and who created such a gigantic killer of human beings. The devotees of the Lord are not much interested in the study of the flickering history of the world. They are interested only in Him, who is the original creator, maintainer, and annihilator. That is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. So interesting. Of course, to a greater or lesser extent, no one really likes to hear much about Hitler. Of course, the atrocities that he committed, people are attracted to that kind of stuff. It's interesting, Prabhupada said, so many people are interested in writing about the atrocities, but no one's really spending a lot of time writing about who killed him. And then Bonaparte, Napoleon, I think a movie just came out recently about Napoleon. So even now, Prabhupada wrote these purports in the 70s, and even now, 50 years later, the cinemas are still producing movies about Napoleon. And recently we were in Paris, and we were talking about Napoleon, and actually Prabhupada didn't really have much positive stuff to say about Napoleon. But we can see here that, the point is that these personalities are so famous, but they all died. They're not around anymore. But Krishna, he's basically killing everyone. He's the original serial killer. He just kills everybody. But at the same time, he doesn't kill anyone. He does it all by his material energy. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Okay, do you want to read on?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Text 20. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in His feature of eternal time is present in the material world and is neutral towards everyone. No one is his ally and no one is his enemy. Within the jurisdiction of the time element, everyone enjoys or suffers the result of his own karma or fruit of activities. As when the wind blows small particles of dust fly in the air, so according to one's particular karma, one suffers or enjoys material nature.
Material life, yeah.
Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original cause of all causes, he is not responsible for anyone's material sufferings or enjoyment. There is no such partiality on the part of the Supreme Lord. The less intelligent accuse the Supreme Lord of being partial and claim that this is why one enjoys in this material world and another suffers. But this verse specifically says that there is no such partiality on the part of the Supreme Lord. Living entities, however, are never independent. As soon as they declare the independence of the Supreme Controller, they are immediately put in this material world to try their luck freely as far as possible. When the material world is created for such misguided living entities, they create their own karma, fruitive activities, and take advantage of the time element, and thereby they create their own fortune or misfortune. Everyone is created, everyone is maintained, and everyone is ultimately killed. As far as these three things are concerned, the Lord is equal to everyone. It is according to one's karma that one suffers and enjoys. The living entity's higher or lower position, his suffering and enjoying, are due to his own karma. The exact word used in this connection is anisha, which means dependent on their own karma. The example is given that the government gives everyone the facilities for governmental action and management, but by one's own choice one creates a situation which obliges him to exist under different types of consciousness. An example given in this verse is that when the wind blows, particles of dust float in the air. Gradually lightning occurs and then torrents of rain follow, and thus the rainy season creates a situation of varieties in the forest. God is very kind. He gives everyone an equal chance, but by the resultant actions of one's own karma, one suffers or enjoys this material world. So it's down to choice, isn't it? It's like everyone's just tucked into the Christmas dinner, and then it's down to choice if you end up having like indigestion and tum-tums.
Indigestion and what?
Have to take some tum-tums.
Tum-tum.
Or or whatever, you know? Out them. And then someone else may take a little bit and then they go out for a run, or they go out hiking or swimming or whatever. Meaning the choice is there how you your choices are up to you. That no one can. Sometimes I was just reading the other day, like in the paper online, someone they killed someone basically, and then as it is when you look into the family of that young killer, turns out their dad was absent, the mother was no good, there was alcohol and drugs involved and abuse and lots of siblings, half siblings and whatnot. So someone was saying, but I also grew up in a less than ideal situation in that way, but I didn't grow up to kill anyone. I actually got education, I'm working and kind of follow the law. So that's the extreme example, but I'm saying that I'm not trying to push under the carpet what someone would be going through for childhood and what like that, but the choice is there, the choice is there how long before I pull my socks up and get on with it, That choice is there, if that makes sense. Like how long do we blame your socio-economic situation? I just saw something online, again everything online, and it was different people walking down the street, and one had, like as if you can see their thought bubbles, so one had a woman there, she was worried, and it was like a baby in the thought bubble, whether it was hers or wanting one, and someone else, an old man, and then the thought bubble had a very young, much younger woman kind of controlling him, if that makes sense. And there was someone else, and they had money, and someone else, and then there was one person amongst all that, and he was just walking down the street and had a smile on his face, and his thought bubble just had like a simple flower growing, and they were just saying it's all about the mindset. It's all about the mindset, they were saying. It's all like where you're at, the mindset and what choices you make, which determine, I guess, what quality of life you're going to live, That's all I've got to say.
Well, I think that's a wonderful statement.
And there's two pigeons here, you can't see them, but they walked across from over there, all the way here, because they clearly think that we've got something, so I'm going to take this leaf now.
They came here to hear Bhagavatam.
Look at it, I'm going to throw this leaf. Look, they both ran towards the leaf. So, hopefully they don't attack me. And now there's a third one.
Yeah, so we're going to finish now and move on. Just in time.
Yeah,
by the bell.
Sorry, pigeons.
Alright, thank you very much. Please read the Bhagavatam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. Ki Jai.